Good news, I've been sent some tools. Let's go and check it out, shall we? So yes, I have been sent 3 tools from Banggood to try out, to see how they feel in the... Meant to be 3, the other one's coming, I've been assured. But anyway, we've got 2 tools to start with, I've got another one coming, so we will have a look at that one later on. But let's start with these 2. Should we get about and see what we've got, shall we? Okay, so let's have a look at this Enjoywood stainless steel dovetail marking gauge / scriber. You could just call it a combi square though, because that's almost what it is. In regards to how I'm going to be using this going forward, this will more than likely just be used as a right angle square or a depth gauge rather than using it for dovetails. So out of the box you have the actual square itself. It is really good, it's got a good weight to it. It is roughly 240 grams, something like that, which isn't too heavy for the sort of square it is, compared to the other 2 squares that I tend to have. This one is the one I actually built myself, or the Axminster Workshop square. These are only the comparable sizes that I got. I don't actually have anything of this size, which is why this one should come in quite handy in my workshop. The only larger one I've got left is also a Banggood tool, which is this one, which I got, which is a Vico. Now this is a lovely square, but sometimes it's just a little bit too big for what I do. This is a highly machined aluminium and stainless steel design. It is beautiful. The corners aren't too sharp, which is quite nice because what you don't want to be doing is using it and cutting your fingers on everything all the time. A brass knob, which is just got a good feel, good weight. It really does feel like it locks into that really nicely. There is no play in this at all, which means if it is square, which we'll find out in a bit, it won't be moving. This is designed for exact measurements, so as you can see, you can adjust it to the precise measurements that you're actually looking for. We will test how accurate these are momentarily, but off the bat, it looks like it should be roughly right. So I've got my vernier here, so let's set that to 10. That's gonna have to do. And now let's see how accurate this is. So one thing I will mention is these aren't actually engraved. They are painted on, which is a real shame. Having an engraved measure just makes it really easy to indent on these. So for example, this is my little Baco square. And you can hear on there, I can actually indent onto that, and that is 10 mil. So that is what I'm looking for. Can't do that with this, but let's see how accurate this actually is. So that, I think, is actually pretty good. Yeah, I'm quite impressed with that actually. That is a little bit off. So going from the end there, it's just a smidge under what the 10 mil should be. So accuracy wise, if you're going to use it for actually measuring, maybe not, but just as a square, that's pretty good. So let's have a look to see how square this is on the outside edge. Okay, so that's touching at the bottom, tiny bit of clearance at the top. And this one, yeah, not too bad. For a hobbyist like me, who's making swords rather than fine furniture, this, just to get a rough square on a bit of timber, actually pretty good. So, this is my lumberjack planer thicknesser, and as you can see, I've managed to move and unlock the head, which is very annoying because obviously I now need to square it again. So this is where you would do that, and you can see at the top I need a bit more play. There we go. So there, and I'm going to hopefully lock that in. Nice and square there. Nice and square there. Beautiful. Now, let's run something through this and see how square it gets. Okay, so we've run a few bits of wood through this now. Now this is a lovely bit of spalted beech. Now this was meant to be one of these, but unfortunately this is very, very soft. But it is really good for getting some nice square edges on. So let's see, where did I put it? I have run this edge and that edge through the planer. I've got it set up so I can reference the inside edge there. And now that, oh, that is very nice. All the way down there. So that has set that up perfectly. And again, so let's test it against one of the other ones. So, the Vico again from Banggood. See, there's a tiny bit of this side which tells me it's not square. But for your basic woodworker who is doing projects around the house, things for their friends, like I could drill some holes in this, call it a tea light holder. That is square enough. Actually, I could do that. Nice live edge. Maybe I won't throw that away actually. At the moment, it is doing perfectly well. More than happy with it. I just really wish that they were indented rather than painted on. It's my only downside on it really. So these halberds I'm making for the show, this one specifically is 17.2 millimeters, so not that big. So I'm going to set this one to 17 millimeters. See how it goes on. So 15, 16. That is now set at 17 mil. There shouldn't be any of it protruding. Oh, see, that is so damn close. So as I said when I did a test at the beginning, it is each of these markings is roughly 10 mil. Judging that up against there, there's not much in that at all. If to the hobbyist, to the fresh woodworker who would be buying these sort of tools, you'd say that was pretty flush, to be honest. So for me, who's looking for roughly 17 millimeters, if I was doing a depth cut on here or something like that, I could use that perfectly well to reference as a depth gauge. Right, so let's talk about using this as actual marking gauge rather than just using it as the right angle or anything like that. Let's use it as a marking gauge. So I picked up a set of marking blocks not that long ago. Oh, the only thing I don't like about them is that they're blue. Doesn't fit with the brush. But these are a lovely set of marking blocks. So if I'm doing any sort of marking, I will be using these to mark out my space. So let's see how this one fares with the marking blocks. So I've got my 10 mil and I've got my 20 mil block. Now I want to take a little notch out of this corner that's 10 mil this way and 20 mil up. So I would use my 10 mil here. I'm going to flush that up to the edge. I'm using my marking knife there, and I've got my 20 mil block there. So I've got my nice strong indent there. Now let's use this one. So this is set to 20 mil. Now in theory, this should sit right the same. And then I set it to 10 mil. I'm going to do the same. Alright, there you go. You might not be able to see that, but you see this nice little bit here? That tiny little bit of wood is the difference. You can see it clearly on this one. There and there, you can see the difference. It is very minuscule. It is a tiny, tiny gap. You're talking not even a full millimeter really of difference in play there compared to the blocks to the actual square. Now if you're talking high-end furniture, that is going to make a bit of a difference. If you're talking hobbyist, beginners, people that are going to be using this sort of budget friendly tools, that is not going to make a difference to your projects, and that is where your square is going to come in handy. Next is the Enjoywood mini block plane. Now this one I've actually been quite looking forward to. Comes with a lovely little bag to put it in. Obviously instructions, but look at that. Now that is one dinky little block plane. You can see the machine mark still on it. Oh, I'm liking the colour. Really light. Oh, now this comes in at about 35-ish pounds, which isn't budget end. It is no near budget end, but it's not top tier either. So you can easily get a Stanley or something like this for £5, £6, £7 on eBay and things like that. You could even get a second-hand, proper old school wooden block plane like that. But this is so nice. It fits nicely in the palm of your hand. It's light. It's an aluminium alloy, and you can see where they've done some really key work here. All of the knurlings on the handles feel good. A little bit of a blemish on mine. You see that just on the inside there, which is a bit of a shame, but everything still works really well, and that is nice. Now again, what would I use this for? So this would be for edging of swords, things like that. Get a nice profile on the blade or the guard. Probably wouldn't use this on the handle too much, but this is very nice. Very nice. Everything adjusts really well. Just trying to figure out how it actually works. Oh, so that adjusts it forward and back, and that protrudes it out. Oh, so the micro adjustments on that. Oh, actually, that's really nice. I'm surprised about that. You've got your adjustable mouth at the front. The smaller block planes, like this, don't have. If you're wondering what the knobs on the side are for, these actually loosen and drop down your guides. So if I drop these all the way down, that I could reference either side of these. So let's see how square this actually is. So that isn't bad at all. Not bad at all. So if you wanted to plane the edge of something, use this nice block of walnut, for example. So let's say that I've put this edge through the planer already, and then my power's gone out. I could then reference off this face on the top. Obviously this would need to be a bit thinner, but then I could go along and reference off that front edge there. And then in theory I could do the same with that one as well. And obviously if you did have any other weird angles here, so let's say you had a point on the top of here that you wanted to just get rid of, you could do that on either side. That would reference the side points. Or if you're having a round thing, you could slowly step it round to try and curve that off. A little bit of a dodgy paint job at the bottom there. Not sure why that's gone off to the side, but I can overlook that. So I'm going to use this on the blade of my current project. This feels like it's one of those tools that lives on the bench and you just grab all the time to do what you need to do and would just perform. Let's see how it handles a ash halberd head, shall we?
1 minute 37 seconds later.
Well, look what just arrived in the post. Another Banggood Tool. Now this is the one I've actually really been waiting for. This is the actual bit of kit that I was waiting to test, which will be very helpful in the next build. Okay, this is the one I have been waiting for. Oh, that is so pretty. So this is the Ganwei. I don't know how they are pronouncing that. Spoke shave, lightweight, aluminium body. These are meant to be rosewood handles. I'll be honest, I am not sure whether these are actually real wood or not. I would like to think they are. There is end grain there. There is end grain. Maybe it is. I don't know. I'll leave you to decide whether it's real wood or not. Anyway, this, you're looking at about £15 to £17, depending on when you buy it. It's got a good heft to it. It's got a good feel to it. It feels nice in the handles. For my big bear paws, these are a little bit tiny for me. If I compare this to my one, I got this from a second-hand shop for about £4. It's a Stanley number 51, and you know, with the slightly bigger grips, I can get a real good consistent grip and a real good shape with things. Or something like this, which is actually the one that I bought from eBay not that long ago for about £8. Don't know what it is, don't know what make it is, but it's the right size, right shape. I just needed more of these for a workshop. This is the comparable option that I was actually looking for. If I could buy a few more of these look really nice. It's got a really nice stainless steel blade. Obviously, it will need some sharpening and it will need some proper setup. Getting a spoke shave set up is incredibly difficult. I spent hours getting this right, and I still don't think it really is, especially if I take it out and try and sharpen it. It takes me a while to get it back into shape again. This looks like it really easy. You've got the really nice brass tuning knobs and tightening knobs there, which will get it into roughly the right shape. It's got a fairly good edge to start with, but it's nice. So I'm hoping that this, along with this, will replace everything and be my new setup. So let's see how this gets on against an ash halberd, shall we? I might see if I've got any oak to try as well, because oak's a little bit harder. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so I've got one of these solid oak halberds in the super jaws, and we're going to see how, let's go with the spoke shave, gets on first. I haven't sharpened this, I haven't set it up properly. I'm hopefully not going to be taking too much off, but all we're going to be doing is looking at getting a nice point down the middle of this. We're going to see how this gets on. Oh! Oh my god, that is so smooth. Oh, that is like butter. Oh, look how good those shavings are. Right, so that compared to my old faithful, this is much nicer. This is much nicer. I'll be getting some more of these then, won't I? I'm not putting any pressure on that at all. So that tells me that the steel in that is very good. Oh, cannot argue with that at all. Okay, block plane time. So that came really nicely with the spoke shave. Let's see how the block plane goes. Again, I haven't done anything to this. I haven't sharpened it. This is straight out of the box. Let's see how it works. So because this is curved, I'm not expecting those nice, long, thin shavings. But that is pretty nice. Now that is nice. Once you get it going the right way with the grain, that is very nice. Oh, smooth. Now we're getting a few more of these as well. I cannot believe how good these are. And I'm taking a fairly heavy cut on this as well. I really am. But this has gone from straight square to having a pretty mean bevel on it. So this is that offcut of ash. Oh wow, that is nice and smooth. That's my central line bevel. I'm going to do this side with the plane, and I'll do the top edge with the spoke shave. That is if that would cut, if you really wanted it to, that would cut. Oh, that's so good. Okay, let's see how the spoke shave goes. This ash. Oh, yes. Look at those coming off. Beautiful curls. When I'm looking at a bit of wood and I'm trying to get an edge on it, I'm looking for a nice crisp finish. I'm looking for a hell of an edge. And to be fair, both of those, the small block plane and the spoke shave, will do it perfectly. So that is the block plane edge, pretty much perfect. And that is the spoke shave edge. That is an almost finished profile for a blade. Oh, that's so good. So nice. Working with second-hand tools, it shows you how good tools can be when you buy new. So, how do I think they play out? I think they're really good actually for a hobbyist or someone just looking to upgrade their tools from some of the second-hand ones they might have picked up at boot sales or on eBay or whatever. I think these are a really good starting option. For myself, who is doing swords and axes and things, I can use this one to actually mark out where I want the bevel to be, so how deep in the blade and where the point wants to be on all of it, and I can then use these two to shave it out and have a beautiful looking sword or axe or halberd or whatever knife made with just these ones. These will do you really well to start out. If you're doing radiuses, if you're doing chamfers, things like that, and you don't want to use a router bit, these will be really good. If you just want to mark something that is 99% square, you've got that. What more could you ask for? So, final thoughts. Would I buy them again? Yes, I think I would. This is going to be square enough for most of the things that most people will be doing, unless you're making some thousands of pounds of high-end furniture. And the spoke shave and the block plane, what more can I say? This is answers enough for me. That, the point on them, ooh, so sweet. So, would I buy them again? Yes. Are there things I'd like to change? Yes, this needs to be more accurate and they need to actually engrave those numbers in rather than just paint them on. The spoke shave, for me especially, it needs to have bigger handles. They are far too thin for me to be using that all day, every day. It needs to be chunkier and needs to be slightly more ergonomic for me. The block plane wouldn't actually change anything on it. It's actually really nice. It's small, it's light, and it does everything that I would want it to do for such a small block plane. If I was doing anything bigger, I'd have a bigger one. So for the small things that I do, that I cannot argue with. If you'd like to pick up anything like this, I have some affiliate links in the description. It doesn't cost you anything more, you get the same price, but I get a little bit of a kickback from it. So if you want to purchase any of these or any of the other Banggood tools, links in the description, ask me questions. If you've got any questions about them, please say. I will do a follow-up video or I will do a Q&A, I'll message you, whatever you want to do. Leave a comment if there's any other Banggood tools you think I should try. I can't, for 60 quid for all of this, I can't argue anymore. It is good, decent tools for cheap price. I mean, that's a spiral anyone would be happy with. Right, I'll see you on whatever I'm doing next. See you later.